We are a cultural center for the community. We are an educational center for the community.
I'm a charter faculty member, which means I go back to 1966 when the college opened. I was interviewed in the Lewis farmhouse, which was converted into the administrative offices for the new college because the college was under construction. And the farmhouse consisted of living room, dining area, one bathroom, and 2 bedrooms. And I was interviewed in the back bedroom, which had peeling wallpaper. Dr. Boyce was sitting at his table. Now, here's a gentleman that you must be a little bit in awe as an applicant for a position, particularly. I was a high school instructor moving into the environment of the 2-year college. And so I was humble and impressed, humbled even in the back bedroom with peeling wallpaper. But here's the president with his sleeves rolled up. No jacket, bright red suspenders that were wide like this, and he had his foot on the desk instead of under the desk, 1 foot on top of the desk as we were talking. And he was sitting back in his chair and he had his suspenders and he was going like this. And I kept looking at the suspenders and he kept asking questions. And then once I got past the red suspenders, which was very unsettling, to put it that way, when you're trying to concentrate on questions. And then he had leather-soled shoes, and there was a hole about that big around in the shoe. And I kept looking at the hole in the shoe and the suspenders, and I was trying to answer questions. And I knew when the interview was over, I had blown it because I was so distracted from the suspenders and the president with his sleeves rolled up and his foot on the table with a hole in the shoe. I drove home. My wife wanted to know how it went, and I said, forget it. I said, I could not have possibly passed that interview because I was so distracted by all this that was going on by the president of the college. So 3 weeks went by, and then when he finally called the house and invited me to accept the position. The land was purchased from the Lewis family, and it was an agriculture plot of 122 acres that the district purchased. Cauliflower and asparagus were the primary crops. The Lewis family had a name. It was called Golden West Farms, and they had a stand out on the corner of Golden West and Edinger where they sold their cauliflower and their asparagus and I guess anything else they might be growing at the time. Well, it was selected by the Board of Trustees. The selection probably was influenced for the site of Huntington Beach, there was it's called the Alan Briscoe study. And the Alan Briscoe study was commissioned by the County of Orange and recommended that a junior college be built in Huntington Beach. And obviously the Board of Trustees for what is now the Coast Community College District read the report, saw the growth potential with the space industry in Huntington Beach, and it was just, it was a natural thing, go ahead and build a campus there. If you were a kid and you were taken to Disneyland the day that it opened, with all of the spectacle of Disneyland, there's an element of excitement that you can't explain. You have to experience it. And I always felt like our opening week, for all of us, and students and faculty and staff included, it was like experiencing that unbelievable, aha, look at that. How is that possible? And it was just fantastic. We had a lot of media thrust in the early days. The campus was written up a number of publications as Electronic U because we incorporated the latest in electronic technology in terms of learning devices. Students had the opportunity to experience what we called in the early days self-paced learning. And self-paced learning is where the instructors would not only lecture in the classroom, but then they would prepare their lectures on audio tapes, and they would supplement the audio tapes with a course syllabi that they have written, and they would also have other visual material that may have been purchased commercially. Bringing those all together, students could go to the library, which had a little module, and in the little module would be the tape recorder and a 35mm projector, and they could also, with headphones, they could listen to the cassette recordings of the lectures. We had visitors from around the world come to the campus because Golden West at the time for a two-year college represented the future.
Well, our little theme is Oceans of Opportunity. So really it's giving students an opportunity to either work in a career program, remediate. Maybe it's been a couple years since they've had a math class or an English class. And so we do remedial developmental work with them and then transfer. And we know that if they know where they want to go and they come college ready, we can get them there in 2 years if they're a full-time student. Or we're developing pathways to get them in 4 years if they're a part-time student. So it's really the student who decides their direction or what it is they want to do. And if they don't know, they can explore around, take a few courses that they might be interested in, and then we'll package it into a pathway or a degree. Or if they've been out in the workforce, a lot of times the job that they got out there wasn't what they wanted it to be, and so they'll come back and we'll help them redirect their career or fill in something that they missed.
We created Jumpstart programs. The faculty members aligned the curriculum with a high school curriculum. They changed 2 basics courses, beginning algebra, intermediate algebra, created an accelerated model of combining intermediate and mid-level algebra, if I may, and they also created a pre-statistic course. In addition to that, this department also created programs where the students not only take the placement test in mathematics and in English in the future, but they also are taught math and they also are taught how to take the test, if that makes sense. That proves to be a pretty strong predictor of students in succeeding in this experience and being able, again, to bypass the basic level mathematics courses.
two things we changed. Number one, we were the first community college in Orange County to say we were going to give seniors from high school who went through SOAR testing, we would bring them in and we would give them for their first semester the first place in line, priority registration, because they're the most vulnerable, because for 12 years of school, they've been given their schedule, right? At college, you have to choose your schedule, and you forget other people may be wanting the same classes as you. So we gave them the opportunity to pick their schedule. And then later, we began to think of that idea and said, we ought to package this for everybody. And so what a CSU and 2 is it is that ideal schedule. All the classes you need laid out in the best way in a morning schedule for the most time that goes for 4 semesters plus summer. And we say if you come in college ready and you're in one of these 19 most popular majors, we'll put you in the first semester. If you successfully complete those, we'll give you the same schedule in the spring, so you will graduate in 2 years, and we guarantee it. You just have to be successful in the classes, but we'll schedule them for you.
We are prepared essentially to welcome the students who come here and they need assistance with their courses, either by finding books, by the way, the library for their courses, but also by having tutoring services. The Writing Center, by the way, helps students write assignments, including exams, for all of the classes that we can, and is normally, or as we have it set up, is a collaboration between the English department and Manchester Writing Center staff. So that normally when then a student comes to the Writing Center, we will be prepared to understand essentially what is required of them in their coursework.
If I were to leave to the next generation of people that will serve the community college, I'd have one admonition, and that is, let change be the tradition here.
You know, our founding president said, let change be the tradition. And we've lived up to that because we keep changing what we're doing. We're driven by that. Any process we have, any curriculum we have, any brochure we have, when it comes off the press or when it's approved by the curriculum committee or when it goes into the schedule, there's always a second question, and that is, how do we make it better the next time? How do we improve that? We're looking for technology changes. We're building new buildings right now. I mean, the campus is 50 years old, right? So you come onto campus today, under construction is a brand new criminal justice training center. We built a brand new school of nursing. We've built a brand new library, which on the first floor doesn't really have too many books. It mostly has computers and access to all kinds of electronic data.
We want our students to be successful, to have hope, really, and to have the tools in order for them to succeed. That's a very large and a very solid kind of aspiration. That is what guides all of us. We also want people to get their degrees, to get their certificates, and go into the labor force and be successful.
I love that oceans of opportunity, the play of words about being close to the beach and yet being limitless and having opportunity. That's exactly what it means to me. When I graduated from high school, I knew I was terrible at math. I could never do math, and math would not be anything I'd ever try. Well, I was taking a math course for elementary school teachers here in Golden West College, and it opened up the world of math for me, and I found out my brain is just fine for math. And without that opportunity of taking that class to find out, actually, I can do math, and I can do it well. So that was one way I would show that the opportunities are limitless. You just need to come and try.
Two statistics I love to tell is that if you go to a Cal State college this year and you're at graduation and you count 100 people walking across that stage, 55 of those 100 students started at a California community college because transfer is our mission. So we get students there. If you go to a UC, 38% of the students getting a bachelor's degree or a bachelor's of science degree at a UC started at a California community college. So transfer is the one thing we do, but the other thing is that if you go to a hospital, there's a good chance you have a nurse that came from Golden West, and if you get pulled over by a police or a police comes for assistance to you, there's a good chance they got their training. So we do the vocational training. Automotive's expanding tremendously. So those are ways we prepare people for careers. You know, entrepreneur is a new word, but we've always produced them, because if you think of our cosmetology department, in cosmetology or esthetician, those young men and women who get that degree in 1 year, most frequently they rent the chair in the beauty shop they work in, and they're their own small little business. And then often, sometimes they go on to buy, to purchase or start their own salon. So that's kind of what we are. We're about creating jobs and opportunities to get better jobs. The reason that they're so good is they have excelled, they've built great partnerships with agencies, they know very well the field they're preparing for and the state boards that those students have to pass. So if you know what's on the test and you know the skills people have to have, and you know you've worked in the agencies they're going to work in, then you're all the better prepared to laser focus that student into and towards how to be successful in the career that they're preparing for.
Golden West College, I think, stands out, not just because I'm a graduate of that program, but also because of just, what we have done for the community, the number of graduates that are serving as nurses in our community. Golden West College goes so far back that we're probably one of about 2 or 3 programs that were here just after World War II. Our original program was, started in barrack buildings, old buildings from World War II. And those are no longer existing since, they tore them down, built other things at our sister college. This program has history. It's been around a very long time. And not unlike perhaps other colleges in the area, but I think that really says a lot. The fact that we were in the 1940s, when our program began. Not only has our building changed, the types of equipment that we use. We have a lot of electronic equipment and simulation. We have, from just books, we now have e-books. We have all kinds of e-sources that the students can put in their smartphones. And when they're in the clinical or even in the classroom, they open up their iPhones and they can get right to the sources, right to the books that they need to have. That's really tremendous change from what it was in, say, the 1960s, late 60s is when this program started here at Golden West. And those of us that graduated from Golden West were here from 1969 through 1970. I think that Golden West College Nursing's program's mission statement is to provide an accessible, affordable, and intellectually inspiring education in order for students to complete our program and be successful. I think that we've kept up with the times. We have not only upgraded our equipment and our classrooms now are a flipped classroom. We do a lot more with our students in learning. It's not so much that we dictate learning, it's our students are also learning in their small groups and providing information back to us, and we're clarifying. The innovation is that our faculty are becoming more educated. We have a large number of our faculty that are PhD or EDD, nurse practitioners, and some will even be doctorate in nurse practitioners. So we have, our faculty are becoming very educated in order to provide exceptional services or exceptional teaching opportunities for our students.
number of years ago, we were doing some reorganizing on campus. And the college president decided that maybe it would be a good idea for a short period of time for me to be not only the Dean of the Criminal Justice Training Center, but the Dean of the School of Nursing. So I asked the president, and this is the difference between a college president and a college dean. I said, so Mr. President, help me understand the connection here. And he says, the best I can come up with is that when I was a young police officer, I remember on Graveyard at 3 o'clock in the morning, about the only place to get a good cup of coffee was a local community hospital. And so the cops and the nurses had something in common, having coffee together, right? He says, no, I got a better one for you. He says, I believe that the reason that young men and women are drawn to a career in law enforcement are some of the same reasons that young men and women are drawn to a career in nursing, to help people. Oh, gee, I wish I'd thought of that. Two things that I think is really important when we're talking about training police officers and the people who support them is the science and the art. And the science is relatively easy. You know, that's the tactical stuff. That's how to properly use a firearm. You know, how to use the tools of being a police officer. The art is how to talk to people, how to successfully implement in any community-oriented policing. And I know that means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But things have happened in our society in the last few years that has jeopardized nobility of policing and the cooperation that needs to be in place between that young police officer that's out there pushing around a black and white at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he gets a call to break up a family fight, and guess what? The family's fighting over the fact they just found their 17-year-old kid smoking dope in his bedroom. And so the challenges of training police officers and the people that support them is to give them the best training possible. You know, it's one of the reasons we have this technology. You know, take advantage of technology. We teach them in the classroom about deadly force, when to use it, when not to use it, the legal aspects of it, the moral aspects of it. And then we bring them in the simulator. It's better they make a mistake here than in the field. And some of these kids have never touched a gun in their life. And then we give them simunitions training, you know, paintball. And then we do what kind of brings it full circle, and we call it, they got to smell the gunpowder. You got to take them out to the live fire range. You've got to feel the recoil. I mean, who else in our society has the constitutional authority to take the life of another human being? Police officers. And so my responsibility as Dean and Director of this Criminal Justice Training Center is to make sure that those young men and women have the best training possible, so that when they're out there in the field and they've got a split second to decide what to do, they can rely on that training.
So going through the police academy, you do get a lot of experiences and tools to have in your back pocket, because in life we experience a lot of things in police work, and those tools are not just the things you carry on your belt, not just the gun, not just the handcuffs or the mace or anything else that you carry with you, but it's the tools in your mind, such as how to communicate with people, how to defuse situations, how to critically think through problems that you're going to be dealing with, and also obviously the technical skills and how to resolve problems.
Well, the cosmetology department was established here in 1968. It's been in existence ever since. It is a one-year program. There are hours that the students need to comply with from our State Board of Barbering and Cosmetology for them to get licensed, and that's 1,600 hours. So all that can be completed within 1 year of the program. Education is a priority to us. We need to make sure that the students gain everything from soft skills, or they're, being personal towards clients, being professional, You have to look the part, be the professional that you can be. We give them opportunities to have guest speakers to come in, and they are able to talk about their experiences. And when we do that, you can just see the students just beam. It just sets up the tone for the student's success. And one of the things that I like about my position as coordinator here is that a lot of times I kind of encourage former students of ours that have been out of industry to come back and explain what their experiences were, because they too were students from Golden West College. I think it gives a set of success for the students to kind of have a goal to meet once they complete. So it's good. It's good for them. Well, we do have a salon that is open up for services here. We do all kinds of services, colors, cuts, facials, in both departments, cosmetology and aesthetics. We get a lot of flow through the college students, but we also have clients that have been coming to us for the past 40 years. But when we also go out to the community, we go to organizations like the American Cancer Society. We've been participants with Working Wardrobe, which is also the same type of organization that women that are trying to get back into the work field due to loss of jobs or personal problems that prohibit them to work or they couldn't work, and they like a change, and so but they can't afford it. So we open the door to many opportunities to work out with the community.
The certificates that we offer, one is called the emission specialist and the other is chassis specialist. So one focuses more under hood and one focuses more suspension, brakes, and electronics. We work with Honda to bring students into the program and take them through Honda's technical training path. They'll do the same training that the Honda technicians in the field are going to do right now. And so when they're done with the Honda training program, they'll be about 75–80% of the way through Honda's training program, and they'll finish that up at the dealership. So we try and place them at dealerships, and I really believe our program is extremely important for Golden West. I believe that we're taking students that maybe started in high school and maybe academics weren't their path, but they're still bright kids. And so we can get those kids in here and we can give them the opportunity to apply that stuff that maybe in high school they didn't realize was that important, math and English and things like that. And give it a real life application. So automotive technology is highly technical. You're using science, you're using math, you're using communication skills. And our program is really important because it empowers these kids that might not have thought that they could be successful, and it might take kids that are going down a wrong path and give them the empowerment and the confidence to be successful and to support themselves and to support their families and just thrive.
We started in 1966 when the college opened, and currently we have 16 sports, 8 men, 8 women's sports, and over 350 student athletes. And that's more state championships than any other California community college. We have great people. Our coaches, I'd match our coaches against anybody, anywhere. Our staff's very, very involved and very knowledgeable. And we made a conscious commitment years ago that we want to have really good facilities and really good equipment and those things. We're going to invest in our people, and we believe in our coaches and teaching people and preparing them how to go rather than just putting all fancy bells and whistles. But I think overall it's just a commitment that if we're going to do something, we want to do it right and that we have the right people. We put our value on people rather than just things.
Dr. Boyce, being the first president, was a visionary, as Dr. Watson, who was the superintendent of the district at that time. And Dr. Boyce quite remarkable from the standpoint that he set a tone for the campus that even today exists. And the tone was that we were one community. We weren't faculty and staff. We were a one group on a level playing field. I know in the early days you would find the president out on campus, and he would be talking with one of the employees who might be mowing the lawn or raking leaves. And he was a person that had a hard time staying in his office. He loved the campus so much, and he wanted to be out, and he wanted to be with his community on the campus. That tone was established during the first few years, and as I say, it has really carried on. I think people that have been there a little while realize that you belong to a very special organization, the organization being Golden West College.
I think that what Golden West College and the Criminal Justice Training Center really does provide is they want their students to be successful. And that's not just in the police academy, but I bring the perspective of working in the police academy, having been a student in the police academy. And the most important thing that I think that the Golden West College offers to its students is not only the accessibility to mentors, teachers, so to speak, but the entire school invests in its students, not only in its buildings, its curriculum, but in the day-to-day interactions with its students. And that's really what's going to make people successful.
I would say that overall, what makes a nursing program is not only the fact that we have the students, it's the faculty, it's the staff support, it's the support of the college in itself. So we couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for all the people on this campus that come together that make this student capable of graduating from our program. And I have to say too that we're not just an island unto ourselves. We can't practice without what the community does for us. So we're a great nursing program because we have the community that also supports us.
Every time I see these young men and women out on the grinder or on a run or in the classroom, it renews my faith in humanity.
You know, we are a community college, but we don't want to be a college in a community. We want to be a college that's part of the community. And all of these efforts have been around that motto and that belief that we're a member of the community. It's the students that keep me there, and it's the staff that keeps me there. I believe in the mission. I believe it's important work we're doing. I believe we're changing people's lives. And almost every day, there'll come either a story or a problem or something across the desk that I know if I do this right and work with other people to help this particular student, their life will be better. And so it's really about changing lives and supporting students who are at risk or maybe aren't getting something and they need a little bit of encouragement. So that's what keeps me there.